My name is Jennifer Thayer, and I'm actually a graduate of Austin P back in 2000. And after leaving Austin P, I went on to law school. And while in law school is actually where I learned about this program we're going to talk about in a minute, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And it was during law school I found my love for tax, and then decided once I graduated law school to go ahead and pursue public accounting instead. So I went out and worked for a CPA firm for 12 years, and while I was there, I was contacted by the College of Business and asked to come adjunct a tax course for them because the firm I worked for wanted to be able to hire interns and kind of wanted more practical experience out of the tax class. So I did that for 4 years, starting back in the 2013-14 school year. And after a few years of that, a full-time position was needed for somebody that specialized in tax. And that's how I ended up here and discovered that I truly just love being in a classroom with students. Well, it was really exciting because when I first came to Austin P, I always knew the VITA program was something I wanted to implement. I, however, was not aware of the high impact practices and the service learning options available. So I just came in and with my original meeting with the dean said, this is something I want to do. I don't know how we are going to implement it and how we are going to attach it to a class, but I want to see this happen. It's invaluable experience. And he said, that's great. Let's see what you can do with it. And then one day I got an email about an information session on service learning and study abroad and high impact practices, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go see what that's about. And so I went to that meeting and they explained how you can organize a course and grants available, and I thought, well, this would just marry up perfectly. So I completed that process and started working through a syllabus of how we can take learning income tax, but then benefiting the community by preparing the taxes for them. And we put it together, and I think it went really well for the first time out. I was a little apprehensive because of the time constraint. Tax season opens February 1st usually. Our students come back to campus January 18th, 19th. And so I was trying to find a way to cram a lot of material into students' heads in a 2-week period. I think I credit the students with working really hard outside of the class time we had to be prepared, and then it was a continuous learning experience through it, and so I think it worked really well that way. Great. Well, the VITA program stands for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. It's sponsored through the Internal Revenue Service, and it is basically a place for people in the community to go and get individual income tax assistance, meaning if you meet certain parameters, your income levels, and not overly complicated tax returns, you can come to these sites, and they're all over the country, and your tax return will be prepared for free by certified volunteers. So the IRS actually provides all the learning materials, and then there are several certifications you must go through to be approved to actually prepare returns for them. Well, I actually had great demand in the program. It was very exciting. I think for us, it was being in the College of Business, those students have been sitting through classes after classes with conceptual ideas, but are scared of what's next. What am I going to do when I go out into the real world? And so this gave them a safe place to kind of get their first step in the real world, but not with so much pressure with an employer that maybe I'll get fired. They were under my guidance the whole time. Anytime the site was open, I was there. So there was never a time that they felt they couldn't ask a question. So the demand was really high. Several volunteers have said they'd like to return and do it again. And they've been billing it off to all the younger students to, you got to try this class, you got to try this class. So I think, again, we'll continue to see the impact grow. I would like to expand it beyond the College of Business. I'd like to reach out to students who aren't business majors, but tax is something everybody needs to know. Everybody has to pay them. And so I would like to be able to invite other disciplines to join in this program with us. Well, Well, I think as far as changing my teaching style, I tried, because I came from practical experience when I became a professor here. I have always tried to include real world examples, but having this course, what that's really done is just allow me to take more real world examples and put them in the classroom. Students seem to be more engaged when it's applicable to their life. So the more examples I can bring in that I'm seeing in real world practice to them, then they stay more engaged in class. So maybe it has expanded my teaching in that I do offer more examples than I did previously, but I'd like to think I've been doing that all along. For me, the personal goal was when I started this job here, this is something I wanted. So I've achieved that. I've made it happen, and now all I can do is watch it grow and continue to try to make it a success. For professional goals, I did, while organizing the course, have started an outline and plan to prepare a pedagogical paper on how to incorporate learning tax concepts into a service learning course. And then ultimately, a long-term goal I have professionally is there are other universities who do this, and I would like to reach out to them and try to do a study of the impact for students and how they're learning. Because I do believe if we looked into it and did some statistical analyzing of it, we would find that the students who participate in this class actually are more successful in their next upper division tax course. So I'd like to, obviously we're a small university, so I would need more data, so I'd like to reach out to other universities. Well, obviously, because of the many hours our site was open, I got to know these students really well. We spent a lot of our free time together. So what I thrive on personal relationships anyway. So getting to spend that time and hear about like what my career goals are or what I'm apprehensive about to go into my career gave me a chance to really sit down when we had a little downtime and say, okay, well, if this is what your plan is, let's look at what we can do to get steps to get you there. And I would say that of the students who participated in the program that are graduating or graduated in May, they all came to me and asked for letters of recommendation because they felt they got to know me and I got to know them well enough to do that. So that has been really nice because I like to know students. I want them to know I'm vested in their futures. So I did enjoy that aspect. Try to do the same for my classes that aren't this type of course. It's just harder because you don't have that extra time together. Absolutely. The nice thing about this first time we did this class is half the students had already had their upper division tax course they're required to take in their major, and half had not. So we really got to see how that worked for them. So the ones that had had it before would say, oh, now what you were teaching us makes sense because I'm applying it. And then the ones that haven't had it kept hearing from those other students, you're going to be golden next year when you take this class because this is really making it all come together. And that's what the point of these classes are, is to make you realize that what you're learning in the classroom has bearing on where you're going to go. Don't be afraid of it. I was so scared just because it was something new for me and it seems so daunting. I'm going to do this service learning course and you think there's just so much work to prepare it, when in reality you're already preparing your class. You're just adding a component that I think you will find the benefits far outweigh the time commitment to prepare it. And I found that the QEP office is very helpful when you just don't understand the next step. And so if it wasn't for me kind of stepping a little bit out of my comfort zone and saying, hey, I just don't understand what I have to do as the next step, then we would have missed out on a great opportunity for our students. And I think I can safely say if you talk to the students who participate in the program, they would say it was well worth the time commitment. And so I would encourage all faculty, if they can find a way to make a class have this component, you will see student engagement go up, you will see student success go up, and you'll have that sense of accomplishment seeing them thrive.